Stop it! I didn't say records.
Damn it! Damn it!
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Loose Lip Podcast. My name is Kelsey Ray, and I will be the MUA whose brain we will be picking today. I have to say, I'm sorry about the last episode not posting. I was actually, I think, at the very tail end of my first 17-day straight run, and then had a day and a half off, and then I'm in the middle of a 18-day stretch. It is wedding season, and I'm chaotic. I've been trying to keep up with everything. I'm trying to make sure I go to the gym. I'm trying to make sure that I keep on my diet and get all my shit for my business together, and then also running this podcast. Like, it's a lot, and I thought that I could get everything done at one time, and come to find out, I might have needed a little bit of a break. And I didn't want to put out any bad content. I wanted to put out some fun stuff, and I wanted to make sure that it was quality. So thank you again if you're still here and still subscribing, still listening. I appreciate you for being here with me now. And also for any new listeners, I skipped last week and
Which is a little too tired.
now we're getting into the traditions that we do at weddings. I was thinking about it, and I really wanted to know more about the wedding traditions that we have now, where they come from, and why we still do them. Some of them seem really archaic, and yet we still hold true to them. Today, we're going to go over vows, veils, and the very strange origins of wedding traditions that we uphold today. The first one we're going to talk about is the white dress, the iconic white dress. White dresses actually were not a thing until 1840, when Queen Victoria wore one to marry Prince Albert. Before that, brides just wore really nice dresses or their nicest outfit that they had so they can show off for their wedding. It was more of a status symbol, that kind of white purity within clothing people were wearing so that they could show not only their virginity, but also the level of status that they had to be able to afford a dress they could only wear one time. Now, white is still common. Brides now branch out into blush, champagne, pastels, even black. There's all kinds of different colors now instead of just a white dress. Styling, personality, fashion statements, everything's a lot more personalized now. Queen Victoria was like the OG icon for wearing a white dress for a wedding, and it's something that we still keep going to this day. The wedding veil. Tracing back all the way to 500 BC, we actually had brides that would wear flame-colored veils so that it would protect them from evil spirits. You could also use it as a symbol in the Christian Europe for more modesty and obedience, but the origin was actually to protect the bride from evil spirits. Now we look at it more as an accessory than really an essential to our look. A lot of brides that I work with don't even wear a veil. I didn't wear a veil. I didn't have any hair. There's all kinds of different accessories to a veil that we wear now that aren't as traditional as they were for that symbolism of purity and virginity. The bouquet toss is actually connected to another tradition that we do as well. I just laughed so freaking hard when I read about these because I couldn't believe this is actually a thing. The bouquet toss in medieval England was used as a strategic survival tactic for the bride. In tradition, after the wedding was over and the bride and groom are leaving, the wedding attendants would try to snatch a piece of the wedding outfit along with the flowers from the bride, attacking the bride because it was good luck. So they used their bouquet as a distraction. They would take it, throw it, and that would get the forward running in the opposite direction so that they could get a piece of the bouquet while the bride was able to get away. Now, we don't really do as many tosses anymore. Some people do, but I don't really see them as often. It's more just a fun thing that they use for the single people in the party to see who's going to be married next, but that's not actually the origin. And I'm glad that we don't do it anymore. I couldn't imagine being attacked by your wedding attendants and your party and be stripped naked and taking your bouquet away as you're leaving your wedding. This one is interesting. The best man, the tradition, was originally from the 16th century, and they used the best man position for a groom, not so much as a best friend or as a trusted confidant. It was actually the biggest, strongest warrior within the tribe that could assist the groom with abducting or kidnapping the bride from her family and taking her away to have her be wed. He was the bodyguard for the groom and the keeper of the bride until she was ready to be wed. Now he carries the rings, he organizes the bachelor party, he's usually a best friend of the groom. It's more of a friendly position as opposed to, hey, bestie, I need you to help me kidnap my bride-to-be. Before I decided to do this episode, it's usually the one that I tell my clients when I'm in weddings because I just think it's freaking weird. Bridesmaids in matching dresses. This is a really old tradition from ancient Rome that required at least 10 witnesses at the wedding. So most of them were the bridal party. And bridesmaids dressed alike and dressed just like the bride because, again, remember, they weren't wearing white dresses until 1860. It was just more colorful dresses or things that were easily attainable and mimicable. They had multiple people dress up as the bride to not only confuse evil spirits, but also detour any enemies who were trying to either kidnap or kill the bride-to-be. Now, usually, weddings were a trade of goods. They were a title exchange. They were something in exchange for the bride so that the groom's side would be receiving something of value. They didn't want any potential incidents happening with the bride-to-be, so they would hide her away for up to a year before the wedding. And if she needed to make a public appearance, if she was traveling, if she was having any sort of out in the open moments with people, they would actually be using either young boys or girls that were similar height and size to the bride. They would be in similar dressings, so you could not tell whether or not it was the actual bride or one of her mimickers. Oh, we just use it as more of an aesthetic for photos. It's more fun. Actually, a lot of weddings that I do now, nobody even wears the same outfit. They might be from the same place, but they're different styles and different colors, but not the exact color. Now things are a little bit more on trend as opposed to traditionally. And now the only spirits bridesmaids are fighting off is the tequila shots at the end of the night. This one has a really sweet origin. Dating back to 3000 BCE with ancient Egyptians, they used the circular ring to represent not only eternity and also a connection between the two getting married from life to death and into the afterlife, but also the reason why we place it on this finger on our left hand is because there is a vein that connects from that finger to your heart, and it's called the vena amoris, which in Latin means the vein of love. Having the ring on that finger, connecting to that vein which connects to your heart, and then the showing of love for your partner. Sweet, right? Let's go to 1947, where we get De Beers and we get the iconic Diamonds Are Forever. This is more commercialized now. There's a lot more pressure to make sure that you are giving your partner a magnificent diamond ring. We do have wedding bands, but the rings have become so ornate and the pricing is insane to where before we just had our eternal love for each other from this life into the afterlife. If you can commercialize it and make money, why not, I guess? This one's archaic as fuck. The walking of the daughter down the aisle by the father. This tradition actually originates back to the transactional idea of marriage. So a father literally was walking his part of the deal down to the person he was making the deal with to exchange for goods, land, titling, whatever it may be. The bride who was being given away by the owner to the new owner, the trading of goods. Now it's a little bit more sweet, a little bit more intention of just having a moment with your parent that you'd like to have walk you down the aisle. A little less traditional as well. There's some brides that don't even have anyone walk them down the aisle. There's ones that have both their fathers, that they have stepfathers and birth fathers. They have mothers walk them down, grandmas, all kinds of different variations of the tradition. It's more a reflection upon your choice and the person that you trust and love to have that moment with you, as opposed to an awkward human Craigslist exchange. Rice or confetti. This one dates back to ancient Romans when they would throw ground wheat or oats upon the couples as they were leaving to show a symbol of fertility, new growth. It was more of a blessing from the people that were attending the wedding towards the new couple and wishing them the best in their endeavors with having children and growing their family. Now it's been replaced with more eco-friendly options. We have flower petals, bird seeds, bubbles, sparklers. Now with our slightly more environmentally attentive people of the world, we've changed it for a few more environmentally safe options. This one's pretty in-depth. In late Victorian England, we had old representing continuity, we had new as optimism, we had borrowed as happiness, and we had blue as fidelity. There was much more tradition and, I would say, pressure within having the something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue tradition. Nowadays, we use it as adding something from our past or something into the future that people of our party tend to give us that we can have on us to represent the continuing of keeping what we had before but going into the new. It's definitely a little bit more sentimental as opposed to warding off bad spirits or making sure that we keep optimism, continuity, happiness, and fidelity in the forefront of our minds, because I think people are already going in with that mindset. The tradition of cutting the cake came from 16th century England, where brides would actually cut the cake alone, and it was a much smaller cake to symbolize fertility. I don't know why, but cutting a cake apparently represented the fact that you hope that you're going to be able to create babies soon. Now, as cakes have gotten bigger, grooms actually step in and help, so it's more of a partnership of doing it together. It's really more of a photo op. It's not even necessarily anything that represents anything or brings anything new into the coupling. Nothing says true love like cutting a cake. It's a cute moment for the couple to show that they're in the moment of their wedding and enjoying a moment together. The carrying of the bride over the threshold, of course, as most of these other traditions, came from ancient Rome and was more believed to ward off evil spirits, with the groom protecting the bride as he's bringing her into the new household, kind of cleansing the whole let's bring a new person into the home idea. We carry the bride over to protect her, to show and represent that he is the man of the house. But in medieval Europe, it also symbolized modesty. They didn't want to show the bride as being too eager, didn't want to make them look too eager to want to get down to business. Now, it's more of a romantic and funny gesture. I don't even think I've met anybody that's actually done that. Maybe my husband did it for me. I don't remember. We were already living together before that. It's more just something funny that people might do. It's not even really something that we keep carrying on anymore. This one surprised me. I'm totally kidding. It really didn't. Bringing up the bells was used as, you guessed it, warding off evil spirits. A lot of times weddings were held in churches and the chapels had bells, and so they would ring them and ward off evil spirits that might be waiting to attach themselves to the new couple. Just a way to bring in the wedding and give them the best of luck possible. Nowadays, I don't think I've ever even heard of anybody having bells at their wedding. It's more decor, maybe even more so like on the tables or on the invitations that show bells. There's not necessarily an actual ringing anymore, and I don't even think I've been around a church that has bells anymore. The other thing that you can also consider bells to be, since we didn't have a lot of way of communicating as vastly as we do now, one-on-one of course, but not as broad as we have now, like the internet, you could take the bells as like the original social media blast. This one was actually really neat, and I love when I know why the names are named what they are. It's just kind of neat to me. The honeymoon is exactly what it sounds like. In 5th century Europe, the couple would drink mead, which is honey wine, for a full lunar cycle to help give good luck for fertility and increase the chances of having children. Honey from the honey mead, and moon for an entire lunar cycle, so a whole month. It was more driven by the idea of bringing fertility for the couple, which I think kind of counteracts the idea, but of course they had no idea back then, but like getting drunk for a whole month, I don't really think is going to help you get pregnant, but that's just me. Now it's more of a vacation, a celebration, a relaxation after a very stressful time of planning a wedding. It gives you time to breathe and also guide yourself into normal life again, away from something that's been so intense. Usually it's tropical, it's exotic, it's a destinational situation for couples so that again, they have some alone time together, but also have something to look forward to after the wedding. Last but not least, we have the traditional wedding march. The wedding march is the exit song, you could say. The origins of this one is actually 1858 with Princess Victoria, before she was queen, and her wedding, where Mendelssohn's song was played. She made that the thing that everybody wanted to do. Kind of an influencer, I'd say. Nowadays, people actually use all kinds of pop songs. They might have traditional quartets. They might have acoustic ballads. They might have harps. There's all kinds of different, more stylistic ways that they do it. The traditional songs aren't used as often, to be honest, and it's kind of iconic to have both your traditional wedding song played by violins, but also maybe Beyonce. That was my top traditions that we have at weddings, why we have them, and the origins of where they came from. I always wondered about them, especially before I even worked in the wedding industry. Like, why the hell do we do this stuff? Why is this what we have to do, or what we feel like we have to do for a wedding? Things are a lot more personalized and a lot less stress in the traditional sense of the things we have to do. And I just think it's fun. It's something maybe even you can take these facts and at your next wedding you go to, throw them at the people and see what they think. Thank you again for being with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for staying with me after my little mini break that I had. I really needed it, to be honest. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe down below. You can also listen on Spotify. You can listen on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and watch all the videos here on YouTube. So thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. I just realized that I recorded my whole intro and I was in photo mode. It's fine. She's not in the pit. It looks really phallic. Mendelssohns. 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 Mendelssohns.